Hey, what's up guys? This is my video about the best $1,500 precision tactical type scopes. Now I'm going to do my very best to stay within the $1,500 price point, but there's a couple of them that are just over, and the ones that are just over, I didn't want to exclude them because the ones that are just over are worth the extra $100 or $200. And believe me, this is coming from one cheap son of a bitch. Now what I'm going to do is pick out what I think are the 7 best first focal plane, exposed turrets, precision rifle scopes. Now all of these things have reference points in the reticle. I'm going to have a big list of the scopes. I'm going to go through things like the weight, the length, the minimum focus distance, whether it's illuminated or not, whether it has a zero stop or not, and whether or not the turret's locked. I also show the magnification range, the size of the front objective, and the size of the tube. And once I get through with all the stuff that you can't debate about, then I'll kind of tell you what I feel about each one of these scopes and give you a quick rundown on them. All right, now I've owned and used all of the scopes that are on this list. All of them are really, really good values. And for guys that are real brand loyal, I think you'll find something that you'll like here. And I'm also going to pick out what I think are the 2 best second focal plane scopes that are precision scopes in this price range. And I hope you guys will really, really enjoy the video. All right, enough talk. Here we go. All right, let's take a look at the 7 scopes I picked out, starting with the Delta Striker, followed up by the Track Torque. Now these are in no particular order. Right behind it, we're going to take a look at the Element Nexus 5-20 by 50, a new lightweight precision scope that I really dig. The Vortex Razor and the 3-18 is the one that I personally prefer of all the Vortexes. One of the cheapest scopes on this list, the Bushnell DMR, which I've owned 3 of, and they are awesome. The SWFA 5-20 by 50, kind of the old head version of a scope that's on this list, followed up by the Eotech Voodoo 3.5-18 by 50, an awesome freaking scope. Now here are some scopes that easily could have made this list, and I just wanted to cut it off at 7. If I were to make it 10, all 3 of those would have been on this list without a freaking doubt. All right, now let's look at a couple of things I really didn't anticipate when I got ready to put the specs together for these 7 scopes. Starting off with the length. Now the Bushnell DMR, of course, is the shortest scope in this particular group, and if you've ever seen one, you'll know what I'm talking about. But something that caught me really off guard was the weight of these scopes. Now the Element has a 30mm tube, so it is very, very light. But the Vortex Razor, I just couldn't believe how heavy that thing is. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not a Vortex hater, and this is an ultimate scope, but it was a lot heavier than I anticipated. There's a look at the tube diameter, and the oldest scope on this list and the newest scope both have 30mm. All right, now on the zero stop, you'll see there's only one, the SWFA, that doesn't have a zero stop. But if you'll do a little research, you can use shims to make a zero stop. There's a look at which ones have locking turrets. Now right here in this part of the review, you'll start noticing what some of the scope companies prioritize in their scopes over what they don't prioritize. The Bushnell DMR, the least expensive scope on this list, is the only one that doesn't have illumination. For me, that's not a deal breaker. Like I say, I've owned 3 of these things and I love it. Now the minimum focus, right here is where the Element shows out that it was designed by airgun shooters. It goes all the way down to 10 yards. And coming up next is the vertical travel. Again, the Vortex, it kind of blew my mind at how little vertical travel there really is in this scope, and it also kind of emphasizes why so many Vortex shooters use an MOA type base to get a little extra vertical travel when they're getting ready to set this scope up. All right, that's enough of the math. Let me tell you what I think about each one of these scopes from personal experience. All right, now the Bushnell DMR is the one that I probably have the most experience with. I have owned so many of these scopes, it's ridiculous. And every single one of them has performed absolutely flawlessly. Now on this list that I put together here, it probably is a scope with the, I guess you'd say, not the best class, but it is freaking awesome. All right, next up is the Vortex Razor. Now for guys that think I'm a Vortex hater, that simply isn't true. And I really, really appreciate the Razor. Now the Vortex Razor probably has the best turret of any scope on this list without a doubt. It's got an unusual zero stop, but it works like a charm. This Vortex razor in the 3-18 is the real freaking deal. You need to see it to believe it. Now the Element Nexus is the newest scope on this list, also the most lightweight, and it's something that I really think is an underappreciated scope. Now this thing has two different versions of MOA, two different versions of mil radiant. It has a very simple reticle, and it also has a Christmas tree type reticle. So whatever your preference is, it's a really, really solid choice. It comes with a zero stop. There's nothing fancy about it. It's just a very solid scope on the 30mm tube. Now the SWFA HD 5-20 by 50 is another one that is just knocking it out of the ballpark for probably 15 to 20 years now. This thing is held up forever. I cannot tell you how many guys I know that this is their go-to HD scope, and for a reason. You just can't beat SWFA as far as bang for the buck. All right, now for Eotech fans, I got something for your dog ass too. The Eotech Voodoo 3.5 to 18. I have owned two of these things and they were super freaking cool. Check that out. I love how the whole eyepiece moves with the magnification. Right here is the Horus 59 reticle. You can see some of the illumination on it. It's pure digital, so after a while it'll shut off by itself. It goes down to 15 yards. The turrets are awesome. Everything about this scope is solid as hell. Great zero stop. There's nothing negative to say about the Eotech Voodoo, period. Now here are what I think are the two best scopes on this list. The Track Torque 4.5 to 30 by 56 is at the very top of this list. Now this one is the one I prefer as far as reticle. The one following it up, the Delta Striker, I just think at $1,500 it's a dead tie. These are the two best scopes you can find on the market in this price range. You'll see videos below or links to videos below for both of these scopes. They are absolutely incredible. A lot of this, when guys ask me which one I prefer, it simply comes down to which reticle you prefer. Or if you prefer a gray finish or a black finish, it seriously is that tight when you're talking about both of these scopes. They are awesome in every single freaking way. I wish I had new words to describe how badass these scopes are, but you need to see them in person. And there is a reason I picked these at the top of the food chain when it comes to this list. I know a lot of guys would pick the Razor, and I understand why you would pick the Razor. But believe me, if you see these scopes back to back with the Razor, I think you'll know why I picked these two scopes. At the same magnification type range, I just prefer these two, and they are a lot less expensive than the Vortex. Plus, you don't show up to the range with the same scope that everybody else freaking has, which I hate to do. All right, guys, there's a look at the Delta, and here we go with the second focal plane choices. Now, there's two that I think are at the top of this list. The Delta Striker 5-50 by 56. This is a hugely popular scope when it comes to F-class shooters. And for guys like me that like to aim at little bitty shit a long ass ways out there. These things track awesome. It has several different reticles you can choose from. It is just an incredible scope in every conceivable way. The other is a lower magnification, but it's the VALDADA 6-24 by 50. If you watch my video on it, you can see that you can pick up what is normally a $2,000 scope for $1,600 using my discounts. This VALDADA is something that you have got to see. This is true European scope quality at a $1,600 price range. You cannot touch it. Now for the fixed power, sorry to hit you with another VALDADA, but the 16 by 56 VALDADA fixed power scope is a beast in every conceivable way. You set this thing on 16 power, put any scope under $3,000 up against it, and I'll kiss your ass if that thing don't trash it. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. Now below, if there's a scope I left off, or you want to ask why isn't this scope on there, or if you agree with these picks and you want to let some other guys know from first-hand information just how good some of these scopes are, please leave a comment for the guys below, because for guys that are watching this video, this may be the first time they spend this kind of money on a rifle scope, and they damn sure don't want to make a bad decision. Now, I don't have a dog in the fight with any of these companies, and I'm trying to be as impartial as I possibly can. But I would rather hear more than one guy's opinion before I throw out that kind of money. So if you guys can help out the other guys that are watching this video, and if this describes you, you're one of these guys trying to decide, read the comments below, see what other guys are saying about these scopes and probably a few scopes that I left out. Thanks for watching, guys.